Right, welcome ladies and gents. Let's do Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania review, and it's just going to be just a tidal wave of consciousness, basically a stream of consciousness, with some cuts here and there where I cough manically because I've got a real bad head cold at the moment. Not that you care, because I'm sure people are just drifting in going, what? What's this pleb talking about a cold for? I came for a review. Alright. I won't ask you to subscribe then, I guess. Yeah, okay. Like I did a spoiler-free review. I'll leave it linked above. Let's talk full spoilers. One of the things which I failed to mention in my spoiler-free review, which I'll say just from the off now in spoilers, is that because we're in the quantum realm solely, really, when all of the Pym particles are used, you're missing the point as to why Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2 were so good. Seeing everyday objects being interacted with on different scales is really cool. You don't get that sense of scale or interest or awe and wonderment when you're in a giant goddamn soundstage, a green screen of nothingness. There's no tangibility between any of the objects. So although we're in the quantum realm, tiny, you can still shrink down again and grow big in the quantum realm. It's kind of meaningless. And you've lost the point of why Ant-Man is so good. You know? There's a tiny thing at the start where Cassie Lang is in jail and she's like got a police car in her backpack. But that's it. That's literally it. Really crap. Really, really crap. And again, you know, this is... I didn't like this movie, basically. For starters, I just didn't like the movie. I thought they missold it. So the trailer has a pretty heavy focus and emphasis on Cassie Lang, Paul Rudd's character. I've literally forgotten his name now. I was just saying it non-stop. But those two characters, him needing more time with his daughter... He got to make a deal with a mad, maniacal conqueror Kang to get that deal and just get more time. And they don't have any of that. That's complete missold. There's none of that in this film at all. I really feel missold the film for starters. The visual effects are shit. Like, MODOK is shit. MODOK is absolutely terrible. He's a giant Humpty Dumpty looking mofo. Looks like a absolute... just ridiculous. It's just Yellow Jacket, Darren's face blown up and superimposed on this CGI rendering, and it's just awkward and weird, and it looks dumb, but not in it's such a... and he dies. It's such a waste of MODOK, and he's just dead. And there's literally dialogue in the film. You'll see it floating around on Twitter where MODOK goes after Cassie in this film, and Cassie beats him, and goes and goes back up to MODOK because MODOK's like, "Come on, I'm still going, I can go." And Cassie just goes, "Just stop it, man." And he's like, "Well, I don't know what I can be," and she's like, "Just don't be a dick. It's never too late to stop being a dick." This is dialogue in the film. And then MODOK, at the end of the film, races towards Kang. He's got a force field around him. He's being eaten by ants. Yeah. Got a force field, and MODOK flies up to him and goes, I'm not MODOK, I'm Darren, and I'm not a dick. And kills himself, basically. Gets absolutely obliterated. So a waste of MODOK, not actually MODOK. It's just Yellow Jacket with a giant head. So dumb. So dumb. Kang in this is interesting, but not as interesting as he could have been. So, as a character, we don't really understand who this Kang is. So he's called the Conqueror, Kang the Conqueror. But then he was basically doing what He Who Remains was doing. He was trimming timelines and keeping the other Kangs in check. So I don't really know what this Kang was, whether he was the Conqueror or not. Because by the end of the film, there's this big fight, and he sort of disappears, and he's taken away by ants, and you're like, oh, cool, we saved the day. And, oh, God. Just to explain that it's such a disjointed mess. Kang is stuck in the quantum realm. Let me just go back to the beginning. Kang is stuck in the quantum realm because Michelle Pfeiffer's Wasp, when she was in the quantum realm, he got banished to the quantum realm, and he coerced her to help him fix his multiversal energy drive. Something like that. They fix it. She learns who he is by touching it and reading his mind. And so she then uses a bunch of Pym particles to blow it up to giant size. Now he's stuck down there because he doesn't have Pym particles, so he can't shrink it down. So he has to get them into the quantum realm to shrink it back down so he can then get out of the quantum realm. I know. It's a little bit convoluted. Bear with me. So they're all in the quantum realm. He gets the drive up and running because he gets Ant-Man to do it, and he does. Not because of he needs more time, the thing which they sold you on in the trailer. No, just because he's like, I'll kill your daughter, basically. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll go do it then. Alright then, fine. So he goes and does it. Anyway, end of the film. There's a reason why I said that. End of the film. Kang basically gets sucked into the multiversal drive. So he's not dead, but maybe he's dead. Because in the post-credit scene, first one, we see the Council of Kangs. And they're like, oh, they killed one of us. Which one? The Conqueror. Oh, right then. So, but which one is this then? Is this actually Kang the Conqueror? Who's going to do the Kang dynasty? Is it just all of the Kangs now? Because that Kang was stopping the other Kangs, apparently, from something much bigger. So he is literally the same thing that He Who Remains was doing in Loki. Oh, God, this film. This film. Goodness me. It's also implied that Michelle Pfeiffer's been boning a few people as well. Bill Murray's character, who's in it for all of like 5 minutes. Okay, fine, sure. She had needs. Literally dialogue. Oh, this film sucks. This film really does suck. Primarily just because it's a disjointed mess. It is one big advert setup for Kang, but not Kang. And the writer of this is writing like the other stuff, like Kang Dynasty and things. It's not going to go well, because this was very poorly written. Very poorly written. Didn't feel like an Ant-Man film. No Marvel film tends to feel like its own individual product at this point in time, which I guess is kind of a good or bad thing dependent on where you sit on, you know, Marvel as an interconnected world. But the better Marvel films feel disconnected and not part of a giant corporate cash cow, you know. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Great film. Doesn't feel like a Marvel film. Feels like a Guardians film. Iron Man 1 just feels like Iron Man. Doesn't feel like anything else. This, just the first Ant-Man felt like an Ant-Man film. Felt like its own little thing. Sure, some people didn't like it, but it still felt like its own thing. It was a story in and unto itself. This was just a setup. Anyway, more spoilers, I guess. So that was the first post-credits. Second post-credits is Victor Timely. And Loki sat there with Morbius? Morbius? I can't remember his name. But the other guy from the TVA. And he's just like, oh, is that it? I thought he was some big scary guy. Yeah, he is. And that was it. Close post-credits. First post-credits was really odd. How many did you call? All of us. Oh, okay. Just all of the Kangs just sat around. This film, oh god, it's just not a very good film. The visual effects are shit. That's not a surprise. Been a problem with Marvel for ages. Really not good. The weird commentary on like modern day things being brought into it. Like they're in San Francisco. That's where the Langs, Scott Lang, there you go. Scott Lang, Cassie Lang. That's where they all live. Hope Van Dyne, Janet Van Dyne. That's where they all live, right? They live in San Francisco. And Cassie is in jail because she went to a peaceful protest to stop the police moving homeless people. Okay, I mean, LA is... You're bringing modern day like societal issues into a movie where it doesn't need to be, and it doesn't need to be because it's such a wider, complicated issue than, well, you should just let homeless people stay there. Okay, but why are the homeless people there? What's the cause? What's the incentive? Are they incentivized to work? There's so much in there to unpack that you just should not touch on it. Like, I'm not even going to touch on it in this review. I just can't. You know? You just shouldn't do it. And it shouldn't be in a movie. And then, oh, I know socialism's got a bad rap, but these guys, and you're trying to promote socialism? I don't want to hear that from a capitalist superpower like Disney, you know, who does nothing. Socialist. I don't want to hear that from Disney. It's a bit weird. And I know a lot of people have compared socialism to communism. Different. Stepping stones, but they're different. There are socialist programs in most Western societies at this point in time. And some of them work, and some of them are just a money pit. You can decide which in the comments. But it just shouldn't be in a product like this. It's just bizarre to see. Takes me right out of the movie. But overall, just a bad film. Just a bad film. Kang was good. Jonathan Majors was good. But I don't know which one he is. And I don't know where they're going with it. And if this is a film just to establish Kang, well, I don't fucking know where you're going with it now. So I don't care. Is this the Conqueror? Is this the one that we're going to see again? I don't know. You tell me. It's just all over the place. I'd imagine he's going to get out somehow. He looked like he's dead. I don't know, honestly. It's just a bad film. Bad film. I can't believe what they did to MODOK, though. I think the MODOK thing is the best example of a few things all in one. Bad writing, bad use of villains, and bad CGI. Like, it's the hat trick. It's the holy trinity of shite from Marvel. Real bad writing on that character. Real bad CGI. And real bad use of a villain. Because he's dead. So you just fucked MODOK into oblivion. Why? Why did you do that? Just, you know what? This felt rushed. You know how every Marvel movie in like phase 1, 2, whatever they were, felt like each of its own movie, and it felt like it, you know, it was a slow stepping stone to build up to something bigger. And then phase 4 was just weird and not really anything. This just felt like a huge rush. This was a rushed film. They just rushed it. They're like, shit, we need to set these characters up. Let's go. Set up. Done. Are you happy? Yeah, product. That's what it felt like. Felt like a big rush. Nowhere in the other films did they feel rushed to establish things. They might have felt rushed to establish one main character, like the superhero, but not rushed like this to establish everything moving forwards. Bad film. Bad film. And I can't be bothered to talk about it anymore. So I'm going to check out of this review now. Subscribe or don't. Take care.